More than 19 million first doses delivered, more than a third of the UK's adult population on their way to getting protected from COVID. And today we learned how the NHS will finish the job. So this is where we're at. Everyone in the top 4 priority groups has been offered their first vaccination. And currently being invited are those in the next 3 groups. That's the over 60s and anyone with an underlying health condition. Who's next? Well, it's the over 50s, and the aim is to have offered all of them their first dose by May. And the new groups added today, covering the rest of the adult population, continue to use age as a criterion, going from oldest to youngest.
Following an age-based programme will be simple, and simplicity has been one of the cornerstones of the current programme in terms of speed and its success.
But in these age groups, people like security guards, factory workers, taxi drivers and shopkeepers are more likely to die from COVID. So what about higher risk jobs? Claire runs a convenience store in Romford in Essex and feels frustrated her situation won't be taken into account.
You do see people coming in coughing and not well. So we are such at risk, and I know myself and every other colleague are very anxious and still very anxious, and really now would like to be vaccinated to have a little bit of peace of mind.
There's also strong evidence the coronavirus disproportionately affects people living in poverty and ethnic minorities. So what about higher risk communities?
It isn't easy when I look at my intensive care unit and see that the consequences of this disease in terms of inequality are black patients, working class patients.
In fact, today's recommendations do take account of that by urging certain people to get their first dose as soon as they're asked. The groups encouraged to be quick are those in poorer neighbourhoods, ethnic minorities, plus obese people and men, who are also at greater risk from COVID.
If you're so concerned about this group, couldn't you have given a stronger signal within your own advice?
We do want those groups to be reached out to, but I don't think it's a question of either or. I think it's both, really. We want to deliver this programme at speed, but we want to ensure high coverage in those groups that we know are particularly affected by severe COVID and its complications.
Bearing in mind those under 50 face a much lower risk of serious consequences from COVID, the decision has been made to stick with a system where simplicity and speed have already proved so successful.
And Catherine joins me now. So Catherine, these latest figures really showing that things aren't going in the right direction.
Yes, the vaccine figures indeed, but also if we look at the snapshot that we get in terms of where the virus is at from the Office for National Statistics, that has also got good news. Infection rates have fallen across all UK nations once again, but at different speeds. So slightly patchy picture, quite considerable drops in a week in Wales and Northern Ireland, where around 1 in 200 people now have the virus, but a slower decline in Scotland and England. Now in Scotland, perhaps less of a concern because they have lower rates. It's 1 in 225 people that are infected, but in England it's still 1 in 145, so a bit of a concern there. We still need that to fall, so important reasons for continued caution.
No, definitely. Catherine, thank you.